We got a lot of cool free tiers on there. So
there's tiers, all right.
There's tiers.
All right.
Welcome to the Two Authors Podcast, an entertaining chat show hosted by best-selling mystery and thriller authors Douglas Pratt and Nicholas Harvey, in lively, humorous and informative conversation with distinguished guests who share their thoughts and experience about forging a successful author career.
Welcome to this week's show. How are you doing today, Mr. Nick?
Fantabulous.
We are always going on about how much we love our sponsor, Vellum. So sometimes when you love a
serenading
sponsor,
your ass right here.
That's
serenading
right. Sometimes
your
when
beautiful
you love somebody like that, you want to sing a song to them. And so we came up with this lovely little ditty just for Vellum.
Careful what you wish for, people. Hey, look, you wrote a book
and you'd like to make it nice. So you've come to these two authors looking for some sage advice. You need a fancy header for an ebook and your print, and pics and pretty edges and your added bonus link. There's only one solution when it comes to uploading. The finest looking books come from the Brad's coding. Vellum is the bestest when it comes to formatting. Vellum is fantabulous and lets you bring the bling. Don't be a great big loser and screw up formatting, 'cause Vellum is fantabulous and lets you bring the bling.
I'm telling you what, we are going to be canceled for this. Like, they're going to be like, this is a travesty to humanity right here.
No way. Hey, my phone's ringing right now. Hang on, just a sec. Can I make the Grammys? Yeah, we can do that.
The Grammys.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay.
We just got the invite. Yeah.
The invite to the Grammys. Are you sure it's the right Grammys?
the grannies. I think we just got invited to the Grammys.
To the grannies, yes. It's a whole different ball game there. It's
I think my poor grannies just rolled over in their graves, honestly. Hey, Brads. No. How you doing, man? We'll sponsor a podcast. That'd be a great idea.
I just want to say sorry. That's all. Just apologizing. Sorry.
All right. Let's plug our Patreon right now. It'd be a good time.
Why? They're leaving right now. They're like, oh my God, he might put this on here.
Unsubscribe.
No, big thank you to all of our Patreon supporters, of course. So you guys are always great, and we appreciate your support. And if you guys feel you're getting any value aside from that song, then please.
I can't even strum properly now.
You didn't strum. Well, your strumming was the best part of the song. So. No, check us out over at patreon.com/the Two Authors Podcast, and check out. We got a lot of cool free tiers on there. So
there's tiers, all right.
There's tiers.
All right, carrying on with what we've been doing through May, although I think this is actually, it is still May. All right, I don't know what month it is. We're doing our Pod Pal shout out to our besties over at the Wish I'd Known Then podcast for writers, whose guest this past week was Lindsay Hughes, and the subject was how to pitch your book to Hollywood. I just feel that I should say that I think Jamie is one of the classiest, wonderful people with a lovely accent.
Oh my gosh, you're trying to pull your foot out of your mouth like right now. It's Jamie, I apologize. But in fairness, we didn't actually call her a hick. And like the week before, we
didn't.
And the week before, she was like, I don't know what those boys are thinking. Like I don't know. I will also say that I decided that you were wrong. I decided instead of speeding it up, I decided to slow them down. So I went really slow. So I took it, instead of being an 80-minute episode, it was like, but it was a great episode. So
like the sloth at the DMV.
Yeah, so I got Jamie going, y'all.
I love it.
So,
oh my gosh, we love them.
I love Jamie. And Sarah. We just like poking fun at y'all. That's why. But no, it was really great.
The episode was good. Yeah, it's how to pitch your book to Hollywood. This lady that works in Hollywood. Not just about
Hollywood. Like it's also about how to pitch your book to other people. It just in general. If you want to pitch your book to a podcast, or you want to pitch your book to a blog, then it was really great information on how to do it. I thought it was really good. So
absolutely. All right. let's move on because we have terrible guests this week because the guests this week are us.
Oh, that's right. Oh, but hopefully we got something between now. We got a listener question coming up first from
Absolutely. So you get a brief break from us with Adrian Giordano. Adrian Giordano, thank you for the recent interview we had with you, which was wonderful, and for sticking around to ask us an author question. What do you got?
I would like to know, when it comes to your writing, what does success look like for you?
I'll take that one first if you want me to, Nick. So,
go for it, man.
Like the fact is, like, I've always wanted to be a writer since I was like a little kid. And I think we talked about this. I published my first book back in 2011. So for me, the fact that I actually can do this for a living and it's the best job I've ever had, to me, I'm already pretty successful with it. So I like that. So that to me is really what I just gauge my life in my career is successful because I can do it. And while it's still a lot of work and I have a ways to go with my career, I'm pretty happy with where it is right now. So if that answers that.
Yeah, I love that.
And I get to work with somebody like Nick on a regular basis. That alone has been a bonus for me. So
that's why he needs the wheel of life to try and balance things out.
He's got to balance it all.
Offset his interactions with me. Yeah. For me, success is certainly, this is a second career. I walked away from something that I was reasonably established in. So, yeah, being able to sustain us and make a living as an author was definitely the goal. And I'm the king of moving the goalposts on myself all the time. So I'm at a point where I don't, when you're a kid, you want, all the cars and all the homes and all the things. And I'm way beyond that. I'm not interested, in fact, we live in a small one-bedroom place, and I wouldn't mind a little bit more room.
Right? Yeah,
yeah. You got to heat it, you got to cool it, you got to clean it, you got to
change the oil in it. Yeah. I got to do all that. Yeah, that's completely
all the things.
One thing I've learned is like having extra rooms for people to stay in. Is they build these things called hotels, put them in a bloody hotel, and not pay for an empty room for all this time. But I wouldn't mind having an extra room that we could have as a dedicated office. But I think
you had the bathroom. I don't know what your problem is.
I know. I'm on it. It's got me rethinking. I'm gonna refurbish the little half bath. My wife's gonna go, no, you're not. I think success at this point where I'm at is moving forward every year. So not going backwards. So that means, both in financial income and whatever it is, sales levels, more interest in each of the series that I do, something. And it doesn't have to be giant strides forward. I don't have to double everything every year, but just to feel like it is moving forwards and not regressing. I think that's
I love that.
How about you?
So what's
yours?
Now, what do you have to say about this as the coach?
Yeah, as the coach. Well, again, the 2-year-old inside me, like when I talk to the 2-year-old inside me, we have very different views on what success looks like, right? So for me, it's about just knowing that I've worked really hard on putting out every time a product that I'm proud of, and just knowing that I didn't phone it in. And that's, I am blessed to be able to do this for a living. So yes, that's success for me on the first part of it. But the second part is trying to look beyond the money aspect of it, right? And just because this business can be so brutal, is just finding peace in knowing that I did the best I could. And, I'm proud of every book that's out there.
That's great. That's marvelous. All right. Great listener question. Thank you so much. All right. Welcome to the proper part of the show, everybody.
A proper part.
The proper part. No more goofing. We put the ukulele away. I promise we're not going to sing at you anymore.
We don't promise no more goofing, but no more singing. How's that?
Well, there we go. That part of it. So what we are going to talk to you about is conferences. So this was brought up. The idea of us doing a show without a guest, just the two of us chatting, was brought up to us at a recent author event, something that we're about to talk about. And it was suggested we do this and, pick a subject that would be useful for everyone, or we think would be. And so conferences is something that we've been to quite a few of them. Doug more than me, but I've been going to them for 4 years now.
I've been dragging you to a couple of them. So
Yep. You dragged me.
We're really getting into conference season. Usually it starts kind of in the spring and summer and fall. So it's a good thing to start talking about now.
Good timing. And there's a lot of different ways of going about these conferences and different types of conferences. So we're going to try and touch on a little bit of all of that. And the first thing to bring up is one of the great opportunities you get through going to conferences is you're going to hang out with like-minded people. So we're very isolated in our jobs a lot of the time. And we don't spend a ton of time around other writers and authors. So you get this opportunity to be amongst, sometimes in small groups, sometimes in bigger groups, but it's like-minded people. So when you actually talk about, hey, this struggle I'm having.
I love that phrase. And I know that's one that our good friend Becca will use all the time is try, but I think that's really cool because it is kind of interesting how we do. You and I talk every day, but it's a lot different when we start hanging out in person, and we don't get to do that very often. And I think that's with most other authors. All of my author friends, it's the same way. We end up connecting at a conference, and then that relationship blooms, and it's amazing the networking and connections that we've made through there. So
big time. So let's talk about a few different types of these things because they can vary greatly. And what you are going to, the type of event that you are going to want to go to is going to vary greatly according to where you're at in your career. If you're just putting that first book together and looking to publish for the first time, you're going to look at this very differently from a seasoned author who's got a bunch of books out there and been doing it a while. So, but there's something out there for everyone at every level. So let's start off. We'll talk about the in-person events that we're doing this year, and we'll put some links in the show notes to them. And there's also a link in there I found to the wonderful Indie Author magazine. They have an article about all the major 2026 conferences and list them in there and links to them and all stuff like that. So that link will be in the show notes too. But the three that we're going to, and it's just around the corner now, is SPS London. It's the first one. So self-publishing show, who is James Blatch and his group, who are back doing their podcast again. They have the whole line of courses and stuff like that. But they've been doing this conference for a few years now. Neither of us have been before, but I got tired of hearing from people how good it was. I'm like, well, screw it.
Yeah, I know.
I better go.
Like every time I hear it, I'm like, now we got to go and check it out to make sure it's excellent. So, and James puts on a great show. I have no doubt. Every time I talk to James, he has more knowledge than we have put together. So.
He's very buttoned down and organized too, so I'm sure it's going to be really good. We'll talk about it a little bit more in a minute. There's NINC, which is the Novelists Inc. conference that's in September. And the NINC conference we've been going to now for, I think this will be my fourth or fifth year, I think fifth or sixth for you, is really good. A little bit more about it. It has a requirement to become a member of NINC, and you've got to reach a certain sales volume. It's not a huge sales volume, but it isn't for beginners, basically. And that way they're able to cater the conference more in the talks and presentations that they do for slightly more experienced authors. So it's one that we enjoy. It's in St. Pete Beach, Florida. It's in September, and it's a good one for networking.
NINC tends to be my favorite one of all of mine, but I like all conferences. But yeah, it's definitely nice. It's a good opportunity to have a lot more networking, a lot more opportunities to really just sit down and talk with people and get to know them. In my opinion, and you can kind of chime in, you haven't done Author Nation, but I'm glad you coming this time. It's really great to do where it is because it falls in September. Some of the bigger conferences, you kind of go on either side of it. So it's a good opportunity to kind of either decompress after London or InkersCon or one of these other ones, and then move into NINC and have a chance to kind of decompress with a smaller group of people and really dig into some of those details, which I like.
Yeah, it's a bit smaller than volume of people wise than Author Nation. Now, in saying that, it's still like 300 people, but it's a good event. It's well run. They've put on talks. They'll run up to 4 talks going on, presentations going simultaneously. So we'll talk about how to handle that thing, that situation a little bit later. And then the third one we already mentioned is Author Nation that we're going to. It'll be my first time going there. Joe Solari and his group took over that a couple of years ago. Used to be 20 books to 50K. Yep, now it's Author Nation. I'm excited. I'm really excited about it. I mean, you've been talking it up for a couple of years now, and I finally had enough
this year. So.
No way. And we're going to be doing some stuff there involved with it. So I'm excited about all that side of things. And Author Nation is bigger volume wise, and it really does cater to everybody. As does SBS London. It has stuff that'll cater to the new authors, the budding authors, and something for everyone at every level.
Those are just three. Those are the three we're going to. There are plenty of others. There's one that just happened in Toronto, one in Ireland, that are these big. So they're like Nick said, in the Indie Author magazine, there's a list that they pop up. If you're looking at something and you look around, because there's also some more regional ones that we don't even know about, that we've kind of not heard about. So it's kind of nice to keep track of what's going where and going on in or near your neck of the woods. So
absolutely. We'll talk about that later as well. Okay, so the first thing, that they're the three that we are going to, as Doug said. So there's plenty more, but that's the three we chose this year, so we have a bit more experience with them. But let's start off with, how do you prepare? All right, so you take a look through this selection of and try and match something up that fits for you.
I like to hydrate first.
Hydrate. Always hydrate before you do anything.
There's a lot of drinking that goes on at some of these conferences.
Yeah, we probably should forewarn you. The after hours can get a little active. Not for me, because I'm an old fart and I go to bed earlier, but you won't find Doug up at 6 a.m. Let's just put it that way. So how to prepare. All right. So the first thing is, make some notes. What are the questions that you need answers to in your author career at this point, right? And don't just think about this as you're on the plane or in the car going there. Think about this in the months leading up to this event that you're going to, and start making that list, right? Hiccups, bumps in the road, things that are becoming a barrier for you, problems in your writing.
I like to go in with an idea sometimes, especially if you're keeping up with what's going on. I like to go in sometimes with, a couple of years ago, it was translations. I wanted to go in and learn everything I could about how people are doing translations and how they're succeeding at it. And so that was kind of my focus for that one. This year might be more Patreon, as I'm trying to work on Patreon. So I have an idea of what I'm wanting to get out of it. The way I look at it is I try to pick a few things that I know I want to work on. And depending on where you are, where I am now in my career, I know I've gotten past a few things. You may be looking at, I just like to figure out how to do Amazon ads properly. Those kind of talks are going to be going on too. And you'll have an opportunity, if they aren't, you'll have an opportunity to talk to people who are doing them successfully. So, but those are the kind of notes I start thinking about.
And then the schedule. Everyone puts out a schedule beforehand of who's going to be talking, when they're going to be, and what have you. And as I mentioned earlier, like at NINC, they'll have 4 of them going on at the same time. And often there's a vendor meetup that kind of goes with that too. There's only so much, stuff they can cram into. Basically, it's like 3.5 days, I think. So there's going to be stuff that you can't go to. So start picking and choosing your first choices of events when you go to, and make a note of those that conflict. So you want to see 2 of these speakers, but you can only be in one place at one time. And keep that in mind, because we'll talk about how to handle that a little bit later. And then get the app. Most of them have an app, or they're on social media and have a Facebook group or something like that. And you'll start getting to know the players and the people and the folks that are really active in those groups that can help guide you towards other groups. If you're a romance author, you're an alien romance author, right? Believe me, there's a group for you, and there'll be a bunch of other authors there in your same genre. So you'll
honestly,
be able to find.
I would hang out with alien romance authors. They're usually pretty cool anyway. So even though I'm a thriller writer, you can come find me. I will say this: one of the things, and our good friend Franklin Horton did this to me, because really before we even got to know each other, we were going to a different conference, BoucherCon, which was more of a readers conference. But Franklin gets onto the app and looks at who all is going to be there and reaches out to make connections beforehand. So if there's, if you're a newbie author and you're like, man, I really want to meet Nicholas Harvey because he sings this amazing song about vellum, then if you reach on, these apps.
Said no one ever.
No one ever. I don't know. I think you might be able to bring your ukulele to the beach. I might play with, but it's a good chance. Most of these apps, you're going to get them beforehand. They're going to have chat features, get on there and find somebody you're interested in meeting and connecting with and just say, hey, I'd really like to connect. Most, I would say 98% of the authors we know are so willing to give their time, within reason, obviously, but they're willing to give their time and talk to people. There's not that many authors out there that I know who are unfriendly and mean.
Not at these events. It's amazing how open people are.
It's also a little bit scary to do that. I mean, we tend to be I'm from the South where we don't like to bother people. So, I don't want to be rude and go, hey, I'm going to text somebody I don't know. But sometimes you got to push yourself. These are opportunities to push your boundary a little bit and kind of step outside of where you were. So
that's good. And you bring up Franklin, and I realized we were absolutely remiss in not inviting Franklin to come and sing our Vellum song with us. Next time, Franklin. Next time. Believe me, you're getting the call. All right, moving on.
He's locking himself in his bunker and going, I'm not going to hear those boys.
he has methods of defense that I don't even want to talk about. A quick word from this episode's sponsor.
Hey, Nick, at Author Nation, they're going to have some great speakers, and the opening keynote speaker is Phil Hansen.
He's an amazing multimedia artist. He did a TED Talk called Embrace the Shake. It's been viewed nearly 3 million times. Wow. The guy had nerve damage in his hand, created a tremor, and now he's turned it from a weakness into a strength by creating unique artwork. Pretty cool. Join us November 10th through 13th in Las Vegas. Now, back to the show. Now, at the event itself, let's talk about that. So networking, you just touched on networking. We know authors that go to these events and maybe sit in one or two of the talks that are available. Some, none of them. They're experienced, they've been around, maybe the subjects aren't aligned with what they're trying to work on at the moment, but they're there to network. And the groups that get together, and most of the conferences give you opportunities to get together in little groups. They sort of promote that environment where you can do it. Nick tried some stuff, some new stuff this past year, which I thought was great. Needs a little tweaking, but it was a really great idea. Those rooms with folks in. So the networking is huge. I don't think either of us can stress highly enough how much you can come away with.
By far the most I've gotten out of any conference has always been the network. I might pick something in a talk, but immediately I might take that talk and we'll discuss it, throw it out there with other people going, wow, this is a brilliant idea. Why haven't we been thinking about this? Or how can we make this work in our genre versus another genre? It's amazing what we talk about and how some of the things that we've discussed have become habits that I've now moved into my workflow because of things I just picked up in talking to somebody else. So,
oh my gosh, books, co-op books that have been written, ideas, relationships, vendors that you're now working with.
Oh, like I said, most of my best friends met them at conferences at this point. So,
Yeah, true.
Hey, we wouldn't even have a podcast if I didn't get you to Nink that first time. So.
That's true. That is true.
So, I mean, these are the kind of the events that you get into, and you'll find like some of these would be if you're smart, when you get through with these, you're going to have little chat groups with all these people. And the next thing you know, these are the people you're talking to about events in your work life on a regular basis. Oh, I've got a new book coming out. And that's how you kind of make these connections. So
yeah, absolutely. All right. The next thing's important. Take a breath. They can be overwhelming, and they can very quickly become overwhelming. They're very busy. There's a lot of talks going on. There's a lot of people moving around, going between talks. There's a lot of side conversations and everything, and it can become overwhelming a lot. Many of the events have replays. A lot of them have notes. A lot of them have handouts. And the speaker will tell you at the beginning how that rolls and what they have for you and things like that. But don't try and take on too much. That's part of the planning ahead. And then when you get there, you'll get pulled and tugged and you'll find a new friend here and a new friend there. And then you oh my gosh, we've got to go to this one. It's just keep your eye on the prize, right? Remember what you were there for at the beginning. Be flexible, but also stick to your plan.
You want to be flexible because what you came in to learn may not be what you need to learn too. You're going to discover something you didn't realize that you needed to really focus on. It helps to come in with your plan, but when you get there, be flexible because it may be that, hey, you have an opportunity to go sit down with some big author or publisher, and instead of going to this talk about translations, which in all likelihood will be replayed on, in a few months. So think about those opportunities and what you can take from that.
So the next thing is what I talked about earlier is you make your list. I want to go to this presentation, but at the same time as this other presentation. Well, you've been at NINC for a day now, or you've been at Author Nation, and you've been palling around, and you've got somebody you met online beforehand that was going that you're there with, and you both want to see the same things. Cool, perfect, divide and conquer. One of you goes to one of you goes to the other, make notes, and then trade the notes afterwards, right? So they're the kind of things that it just fast forwards relationships and stuff like that. It's amazing to see people who'd never met each other before, and then after a couple of days at a conferences, they're like besties.
Oh, they're arranging things like, all right, Nick, you're going to go to this that Damon Courtney's doing, and I'm going to go to the one over here that this guy's doing, and we can't forget about the Amazon ad book, so we grab somebody else to go over there. You start doing this like big coordinations of who's going where, and let's bring out our notes and talk about this. So what'd you learn? That kind of thing. That's so important. And again, that kind of falls back to the networking. That's that part of connecting with people that, don't walk in there and expect to be by yourself. Reach out, make friends.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'd be remiss if we didn't say this, respect the speakers. I mean, it's obvious, right? I mean, everyone goes in with the intention of being polite to everybody. But
well,
with the intention of being polite to most people.
Most people, yeah.
Yeah, how's that? That covers it. All right.
No, most people are very, very good. And I think the other thing is, remember that like some of these speakers, there are speakers who are there who are donating their time. They're just trying to give their knowledge. There are speakers who are there who are with companies like Vellum or BookFunnel or some of our other vendors who are talking about their products and stuff. And depending on where you are in your journey, you may want to learn a little bit more about different things, but you want to be able to respect that they take the time to do it. It's a lot of effort to put on a talk. People think people just get up and ramble on, and that's not really true. Even I have to put in effort to do a talk, and I don't put in a lot of effort for anything. So.
Right. So part of that is at the beginning of the presentation, generally speaking, whoever's up there will tell you if they have a handout. They'll tell you if it's okay to take pictures or not take pictures. And we've both been in plenty of presentations where the speaker says, look, this is proprietary. Please don't take pictures of it. And phones are up in the air. 2 seconds later, there's always somebody that goes, it's like, he just said, please don't. So just respect the rules and respect the pictures.
It's like bars in a zoo. Those are just suggestions. Don't get in there with a gorilla.
Oh, I'm fine with that. If you're stupid enough to get in there, you deserve what's coming. Yeah, that's different, Doug. That's evolution taking care of itself. All right. Post-event. What do you do post-event? Okay, well, the first thing is you decompress.
Sober up.
Sober up. Yeah, I guess push those fluids. But dealing with the overwhelm, for introverts, it's a lot of people at these events. And for me, I'm reasonably social. We joke about it, but I am reasonably social, but I do spend a lot of time on my own with just Cheryl. And
you're reasonably sociable with me, so
yeah, but exactly. I try and get out of the house, once a week, and then I go underwater where no one can talk to me. Then, but it can be. I find it very overwhelming, and I find I tend to compensate for that by being overly not extrovert. I tend to turn into a bit of an extrovert in that environment sometimes. And I find it wears me out when I leave a conference. I am worn out. I'm worn out from talking. I'm worn out from sitting, absorbing all this stuff.
Well, there's a dopamine crash. You're going to find you're enjoying this opportunity to be around people who actually want to talk about books, because as authors, we all know we all want to talk about our books, and nobody really wants to talk about our books with us. But guess what? There's 300 people, 500 people in this conference who want to talk about your book. And so there is a dopamine rush. But when you leave, that dopamine rush crashes. And so you kind of got that same feeling too. So, it's also like this sudden realization that now I've got all this information.
That's the other part that's massive.
And I've got to do something with it. And so you combine that with what is already a chemical crash, and you're gonna feel overwhelmed about, like Nick says, what am I doing next? How do I how do I do translations, and how do I do narrations, and how do I do dual narrations plus my regular narration? We're a full cast. It's going to be all this information thrown at you, and you're going to have to piece through it at this point, I think. Then that's usually
it's a fire hose, yeah.
It's a fire hose. Usually for me, I don't know about you. Oftentimes you fly out of these places. I tend to drive, so usually for me, it's that drive home where Ashley comes along with me almost all my conferences. So we'll be driving back, and I kind of decompress with her, tell her the things that I've learned, and if she's gone through the conference with me, we'll talk about the things that we both have seen. And to me, that helps. You and I will do the same thing. We get through with Nink. We sit there and we'll talk about all the stuff. And to me, that's a little bit of decompressing, but it also allows me to organize the things that are really important compared to the things that seem important.
That's the key, right? So we got to prioritize. So you're going to come away. It was a fire hose. You've got all this stuff. And remember, everybody that's talking about their subject, they're very passionate about it, and it's very immediate, and this is the thing, right? And you're going to hear about all these subjects that are the current thing, the trend, this is happening, that's happening, this is going on. And it's going to feel like, oh my God, I've got to be doing all of this stuff. Nope, you do not. You do not have to be doing all of this stuff. And maybe eventually you're going to do all this stuff, but you don't need to be doing all of this stuff now. So make sure you take the time to relax, decompress, evaluate what you learned, and then start prioritizing. And we always talk about this, you always want to prioritize, right? It's on every list basically comes down. If it's a job list, it always comes down to prioritizing, right? Well, it has to, right? And how do we prioritize? What goes to the top of the list?
Prioritize.
Yeah, you prioritize the priorities.
That's right. You got to do that first.
Yeah. No, but what makes it go to the top of the list?
I look at it a couple ways. I want to know what's actionable. What can I prioritize the quickest with the least amount of effort? For something like translations, that's a pretty easy one to kind of, all right, I can start looking at that. It's a time-consuming one, but so that one may not be as easy as I'm thinking right off the bat. So it might be something else. Oh, just add a link to the back of my book that with a reader magnet. I hadn't thought about that. That's an easy one right off the bat. So that's for me. I want to look at what is, because I am one of those people who likes to see something accomplished. It's not the actual doing of it, but I want to make sure I know it's accomplished, and I feel better about what I'm stepping into. So that's my approach. I'm not sure what you do, Nick. You might have a different approach.
I think the key is ROI, return on investment. So when you're trying to prioritize this list of stuff that you can't do it all, what goes to the top of the list? What you can achieve, what is actionable, as Doug said, and what is going to give you the best return on this investment, right? You're going to take this time, which is precious because writing books takes a lot of time, and that's our primary function is writing books. So we're going to take this time. It's probably going to cost, whatever you do costs some money of some sort in some way, whether it's money in terms of time or money in terms of outlay for this new software or whatever it might be, is take a look at where you're at right now. And if you're a new author with 3 books out there and you're bringing in 5 figures from these books that you've got out there and maybe lower end of 5 figures, you just heard this brilliant speech from this 7-figure author that's expanded their IP into all these different things. And you go, God, I'd love to do that. That's fantastic. Okay, cool. Is that going to get you a return investment, right? They've got this reach of tens and tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people on their newsletter list that they're doing these special editions or whatever they're doing for. And you have a list with 850 people. What is the return on investment for you to do that at this stage? So that's what I'm talking about in terms of prioritizing and looking at the ROI to pick what you're going to target next. And then for some people, often for like you and I, it's like, okay, how can we get efficiency in something we're already doing? How can we improve something we're already doing? And what is one avenue that maybe we should be looking into that we haven't already? That's generally kind of what I end up with.
I think you're right about that. I think that it always comes down to what is, to me, like I said, what is actionable, what is going to return the most investment, what is something I probably should be doing, whether or not it's actionable or returns on investment. Some of those things you get somebody who says something and you're like, oh, yes, I should have been doing this all along. It's a no-brainer. I just never did. And a perfect example is copyright your work. Like, we've talked about that with the recent Anthropic suit that a lot of people didn't get to think, that should have been a no-brainer. I should have been doing that all along, but I didn't. So that was easy. So I will say, and I'd like to add one other thing that you have to remember is, and we say this a lot, is that your mileage may vary too. Like what Nick and I might be talking to somebody who is doing 10 figures or who knows some ungodly amount, if we're sitting there, Andy Weir is going to be at, Author Nation. I don't think we can compare ourselves to Andy Weir. So what he's doing isn't necessarily going to work. So for somebody, I've got 15 books in my Chase Gordon series. If you came in and you're on book 2, you don't need to be focusing on the same things that I'm focusing on, and so you've got to remember that. And if you come in and you're writing romance and you got 2 books and I've got 15 in thriller, while there's some crossover, it may vary a little bit. Audiences change, and you got to kind of pay attention. So for those of you who are just kind of first go to your first conference, it's going to be overwhelming. You're going to think all this stuff I should have been doing all along. Again, like Nick said, it's what's the old adage is how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So,
I'm a pescatarian. I'm not going to eat an elephant, Doug.
Okay. How do you eat a whale?
I don't think.
Sorry, gotta change it for Nicholas here.
I really don't want to eat a whale either. All right. Okay. So a couple other things we're going to touch on before we wrap this up. So virtual conferences, that's becoming, bigger and bigger. It's obviously through the COVID years, all the virtual stuff started firing up and or becoming a lot stronger.
And there's a lot of virtual conferences.
There's a lot of virtual conferences, and they do it a lot of different ways. And so there's some really great stuff out there. InkasCon is one that comes immediately to mind. That's
InkasCon is probably the best one. Author Nation will also have if you don't get to go to the live one, Author Nation
have a virtual element,
a virtual one afterwards. Yeah, those are really great. They're great for you if you just can't afford to go. I mean, that's the other side.
If the travel's an issue.
The travel's an issue, then that's going to be an easy way to kind of get some stuff. During COVID, I did several of those because a lot of them popped up at that point. Things that were normally in person that I couldn't afford to go to, I would do the virtual ones, and so they're fun too. So
the big decision of whether you're going to do a virtual one or not, and some of them you have to listen to it live where it's going on, and most of them have a recording that if you pay for the event, you then get the recordings at least for a period of time that you can go and listen to. But do you do well in that environment? So some people can sit in front of the computer and watch it all going on and take it in and soak it up and everything. Personally, I'm terrible at that. I will be so distracted.
Oh, yeah.
There is a million. I'm a freaking.
You're lucky I'm not writing my book while we're doing the podcast, to be honest with you. So, like I'll be on a virtual meeting and be like working on a chapter, but I'm the same way, and that's my attention span. So, but some people do really well with that online learning, and you should kind of gauge again what works for you. So.
Yeah, I'm a full golden retriever, so there's no way that I'm going to sit there, especially for meeting after a meeting during a day like that. So now, will I absorb it if I took the recordings and did it? There's a better chance of me doing it that way. But quite honestly, my time is so jammed, I don't know when I'm going to stick that in there, and that's why I really wanted to do InkasCon this year, to be honest. It's really appealing, great speakers, some great stuff they're covering. And I passed in the end because I just feel like I kept telling myself, well, just get the recordings and look at it later. Well, later, I have so many things that have to get done that I'm pushing to later. I felt like, you know what? I don't know that I'm going to maximize this, but one day that might be different and I might be able to get more out of it. Otherwise, the virtual stuff, look, it's basically the same prep as you do for an in-person. You just don't have to get on a plane or get in the car and go to it. But making the notes ahead of the time, focusing on the stuff that you want to make sure you hear. Generally, the virtual stuff is linear, so there's not dual stuff going on at the same time, although some of them do have them that way, and they'll definitely be recorded if they do them that way.
And now, a quick word from this episode's sponsor.
Hi, I'm Jamie Davis, dad joke dude, fantasy author, and show manager for the Author Nation conference coming up this November in Las Vegas. Maybe I'll see you there, but if I don't, here's a dad joke to tide you over until the next time we get a chance to meet. Why are dragons always good to invite to your cocktail party? Because they always spark conversation.
And now, back to the show.
The last thing we want to talk about a little bit is retreats and masterminds. And these come in all shapes and sizes, from 3 or 4 people getting together locally, down the pub or something to chat, up to these huge international travel events that have a pretty high threshold to be involved with.
I would say the first thing you want to start with is whatever's local. Like if there's a local writing group, try to join it. Try to go to these meetings. Just because even though you're going to be there with people who are of different skills, you're still going to be networking with people. And it's still, like we said earlier, it's kind of like your tribe. Those are a good way to get started. Anything that is in your city within a couple hours, I love doing those just because it's easy and it does it. And there's so few writers in the Memphis area to hang out with. I just want to find anybody I can because I'm, unlike Nick, I thrive on chatting with people. So
you think it's hard to find writers where you are? I'm on an island, man.
Yes, well, that's true. Yeah. Well, they come passing through. You just got to have to set up a little lemonade stand.
Yeah. Everyone now wants me to put on a retreat or a mastermind here.
Well, yeah,
so they can come here.
Such a nice place. I mean, we should have a 2 authors retreat in Grand Canyon. He only has 1 bedroom, so we all got to line up on the floor. But it'll be fun.
Yeah. Hey, you know what they have here? Lots of hotels.
They do. Well, there's often you can go social media, get online, look for what's local is my biggest suggestion, and get involved. Because the more you're involved, the more, don't just be sitting on the wayside and watching it. Get involved because even these local groups, they need that involvement to stay alive. So.
Yeah. And libraries are always a great resource. Not just going in, look at their notice board or what have you. It's tough to go around a library and ask, hey, are you in a book group? Are you in a...
But they do. There's a group in Memphis that does once a week. There's a couple of them, but I go to one of them. I can't go to all of them, but I do one on a regular basis, which we just get together and do writing sprints. And we'll talk about different things. All of us are in different genres and different levels of our careers. So it's kind of a nice opportunity just to kind of connect with your people who you like and do something different. And also it gives you some accountability.
Yep. That really works for some people, and it's a great way of staying on task is to have a writing buddy that you're just all you do is check in at the end of the day and say, hey, how do we do? And just knowing that you've got to get on that that chat.
You got to get on there and tell them,
I didn't.
When I do that with some, our good friend Drew, he and I used to do sprints together regularly. It's always kind of a competition who can write the most in a day.
Back when Drew wrote books.
Right.
Hey, Drew.
No, he turned off too. He heard us singing early on.
He's probably not listening, but he's heavy into writing one right now. He is back at it.
But that's that kind of thing helps because then you want to be that little bit of competition we have that drives us. Makes me I want to write 500 words. He only wrote 400 last time. I can beat that. That to me that helps a little bit. So
yeah.
But it's
absolutely.
just, I think it's just it's good-heartedness. It's that kind of a opportunity to connect with people. So
yeah, and the library, just to finish the library loop, is they pretty much all have social media sites now for the library, and that's a great place to go find out what they've got going on for events and groups that are there.
Libraries are so desperate to come up with programs, especially smaller ones that are in smaller communities, that if you went into the library and said, do you have a writing group? No. I would like to help start one here. So many of them would be happy to have that kind of volunteer work, and it gives you an opportunity to kind of craft what you want.
Absolutely. All right. And then up from there, the retreats and stuff, there's some retreats like the one we went to, which is like Fight Club. You can't talk about it. And it was an invite only. And it was really flattering for us to be invited to go to it.
I just got an email. They asked you to bring your ukulele next time. I don't even know. I'm not even sure how they heard this. It hasn't even come out yet, but they're already like, we got to have the ukulele. Gotta have more ukuleles.
Hey, as George Harrison says, no one can not smile when you play a ukulele. So the stuff in between, so the local groups, the big mastermind events that tend to be an invite into a secret handshake group that go to exotic places, they can be brilliant if you're up at that level. But there's everything in between. Again, you find out these things by networking. You'll be amazed. You go to that first conference that you go to, you'll start chatting with people. The next minute, you're finding about these other events and stuff that are going on, and you can pick and choose. And again, filter it. You can spend the year running around all over the place to these places, and it costs money, right? So you've got to weigh up where you are in your career and what you're going to get out of it, and whether it's worth spending the pennies to do these events versus do something else for your authored career. But in most cases, most of the time, these conferences really do pay back in the long term. And the other thing that we didn't touch on that I need to mention is some of them are more craft focused, some of them are more business focused. When I say business, I mean not the accounting, although they do often cover that sort of thing.
The marketing, the advertising,
and how to use tools, like you talked about translation tools and various other narrations, audiobooks, all that kind of thing. So, but most of them have an element of craft in the talks that they do, but some of them are more weighted that way, and some are more weighted the other way on the business side of things. So weigh up what you think is going to get the best. I love sitting in some of the craft talks. I've sat in some that I went into really not expecting much. And that's not because I think I know everything about craft, because I absolutely do not. I learn every day. But I've been surprised. My final comment that I want to make is my goal when I go is I want to come away with nuggets, just a handful of nuggets. So when I go into a talk and listen, I'm hoping that I'm going to leave there with a nugget. So I'm not going to leave there with this massive project and whole philosophy shift in the way I'm running my business. I'm going to come out of there with one nugget that will slightly change the way I'm doing things for the better. And if I can do that and come away with a handful of those nuggets from a conference, then I feel like I've been successful there.
That's a good way to look at it. I mean, I think anything you can come in with. I think I would say my final thought would be just to remember. To me, when I first started going, I think my first conference was 20 books. I want to say it was like 2017 or 18, a long time ago now. But my goal was like just to meet people. And I was still like just nervous to talk to people, which is kind of weird. I'd talk to everybody. You'd think that that would be weird. But yeah, I didn't want to go bother. I met Diane Capri. It was just Diane. She's now such a good friend of mine. And I'm like, at the time, I was like, just kind of, I can't talk to her. She's writing Jack Reacher books. So
she's Diane frickin' Capri.
She's Diane frickin'. But my suggestion to everybody is don't be shy. And it's a challenge because sometimes, some of us are introverted. Some of us don't want to put ourselves, we don't want to be rude and interject. Oh, hey, I see somebody, this big author over here. I'd like to go talk to him, but I'm nervous about it, Go ahead and talk to him. At the very least, introduce yourself, get a chance to put a face to them, and, you don't monopolize them, but by all means, take a chance. They're probably going to be super nice.
Polite, respectful, and you'll be amazed how much time they'll give you.
If, however, you're at NINC or Author Nation or SPS this year and you're like, I want to meet, James Blatch, but I'm nervous to go talk to him, then come find me, because I don't have a problem going and making an ass of myself and introducing myself. So we can play a game of, hey, have you met? And I will be happy to take you up and introduce you. Feel free to come talk to me. I don't have a problem with that. So.
That's brilliant. All right. Well, I hope this has been useful for you. I'd like to thank our guest this week, Mr. Douglas Pratt, thriller author extraordinaire. Don't forget
that other guest, Nicholas Harvey, sexy songbird that he is.
Ukulele killer. Yeah, big thank you to everyone that supports us on Patreon. Huge thanks to Vellum for supporting us, and I hope you continue to support us after this episode.
I'm sorry that Nick wrote the song.
Go to tryvellum.com/2authors, and that'll get you in there if you're not on Vellum already, and you can check it out. All the stuff will be in the show notes, so take a look there. We'll be back for another episode, song-free, hopefully. Until next time, be cool to each other.
Fair winds and following seas.
You've been listening to the Two Authors Podcast with Nicholas Harvey and Douglas Pratt. Subscribe on your favorite platform for new shows coming every week.